Hello, everyone. This is another Friday evening with Money Matters Live. Money Matters is a movement where we talk about how we can make money and multiply our money. God expects us to multiply whatever we have. God gives us these things in form of a seed. So what you do with your seed will determine how big your seed will grow into. Like I told you, I said a mustard seed is the smallest of all seeds. But guess what? When you plant it, it takes several years, grows first down just like a bamboo tree, falls down deep down into the ground. And before you know it, it takes a while and now grows out like a big, mighty tree out there. And people doesn't know, and they're like, oh my God, the first few years will be like a struggle. But guess what? It is growing down. It's going down deep down. It's having a very great foundation, a very great rooting system. So that's why when you see a bamboo tree or you see a mustard seed, they grow to become very long and very giant, and they're able to withstand any form of storm. So are we. God expects us to, as much as we want to make and manage, multiply money, what you do with your seed really matters. And we talk about savings here because you cannot invest if there is no culture of saving. So we'll talk about saving. We'll talk about where you can put your money to work for you. When you're not working actively, your money can be working for you. We also talk about businesses you can do in the 21st century. We talk about life insurance and health insurance. These are all critical in the total well-being of a man. And we'll talk about how do you get your services and your business in front of those who need them. You can have a great service. If you don't have or know a way to get them to people who need them, it will be good as well, not having a business. So, and yeah, we'll talk about financial literacy, financial discipline, and financial planning. It is said that when you don't plan, you're also planning to fail. So all of this we'll talk about on the Friday Money Matters Live. And we'll bring great guests who are able to share their story and how they started out with their passion and how their passion became their business and a lifeline wire that's keeping them going, and how they have gone through turbulent moments and their business is able to sustain them, and they're able to make money, and they're able to impact the world, and they're able to give back to their community. So I have a great guest with me. He's no other person than Joseph McGuire. He'll be telling us what he's been up to in his business world. Thank you very much, sir. So great to have you. Awesome.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so my guests would like to know, my audience would like to meet with you. They'll like to know you. What are you up to? What are you doing in your world? And then tell us about your business. When did you start the business? How did you start? Did you come out of college starting a business, or you went to work for some time, gather up some capital to start your business, or how did it start? We'd like to hear from you.
Well, this business is not my first business. My first business, I've been self-employed for, gosh, feels like 200 years at this point. It only feels like it, but I haven't really been around that long. My first business was I was a therapist for 30 years. And then my body a lot of what I did was hands-on. And excuse me, when I would touch somebody, I would know what was really going on for them. And my body absorbed a lot of their stress, plus a lot of my own stress that I hadn't dealt with because I'm a man and I can deal with everything and all that nonsense that men buy into. So I had to stop and I had to develop something new. And the one thing I was trained to do was to read faces, read body language. So I started to do some what we call road testing, where I had some invitational events. I had begun to do some business networking probably a year or so prior to this. So I started inviting some business contacts to special events where I would just have free events to introduce them to what I was doing. It wasn't successful at the beginning. I could get people to free events, but I wasn't getting paying clients, because I realized it took me a while to realize I was actually quite naive about business. I just assumed because I was really skillful at what I did, and I'm not being egotistic about it. I know I'm exceptionally good at what I do, but I didn't know how to present it in the context that business people needed to hear it. So that was an evolution, because I thought because it's about communication, because it's showing how people can read a face, can read body language, and that can help them to communicate, get their message across clearly, I thought people would automatically jump at the opportunity, but it didn't happen. So I had a lot of learning to do about how to communicate in a business context. My practice as a therapist had been successful. But that was people coming to me. I wasn't having to go out to look for people because I'd built up a really solid reputation. So sometimes I had 4 and 5 generations of the same family coming to me. And the word spread through different neighborhoods, through different people in different industries. So it was a completely different environment, completely different set of circumstances. So I had to do a lot of, I guess, training as to learn how to be a business person. A lot of it, I also did a lot of business networking to build up deeper relationships. And I was definitely not specific enough in terms of what I could offer or how it could benefit people. So because I could see so many applications for it. So I was doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that rather than being really focused. So over the last couple of years, I've learned to be much more focused. So I work primarily with sales teams, with people who are doing negotiation. And one thing I've learned is a lot of even very successful business people are very nervous and very stressed around negotiation. So I do a lot of work to help people prepare to be successful in negotiation. And part of it is role play. Part of it is me helping them read the people that they're going to be negotiating with, because I can get a lot of information from a still photo about the personality, character, behavior style, stress triggers and responses. Even a still photo will give me a lot of information about who the real person is behind the image, behind the successful career and all of that. So I'll do a lot of preparation with people to know, so they know exactly who they're dealing with when they actually go into the negotiation. I do a lot of work in the area of executive interviews, because it surprised me when I came across the statistic, but it's been a consistent statistic over the last probably 10 years anyway, that between 50 and 70% of all executive appointments fail within the first year. And there's so many mistakes consistently made in that area. So I'm not helping people with the recruitment side, but I am helping them with the interview. Again, to read the real person behind maybe the very impressive CV and maybe the very elegant image and the nice hair and the person who's very well spoken, because it's very easy to create a wonderful looking CV and to learn how to practice in psychometric testing and all of that. It's very easy to do all that, but I'm reading the real person. So I'm paying attention to, again, not just what people say, but whether what they say is congruent with how they look, how they're presenting, their facial expression, their body language. I'm listening for what they don't say, what they avoid answering, or whether they sort of circle around an answer to present what they want people to hear rather than what people need to hear.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a great one. Does that mean that people reach out to you when they have interviews?
Yeah, I've helped people prepare to be interviewed, but I also help employers interview, because it's about making sure you get the person who's the right fit for your company.
The job, so you don't have to have a large turnout of people going in and out and changing hands. Well, that's a good one. So with that, you're able to have retain people for a longer time at work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And since you started that, you'll be making money from it?
Now, yes. Yeah.
But before now, one good thing you told me was that you learned. Even when you were not making money, you didn't allow that to bother you, but you were open to learning. And so that's a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs are not doing. They get into business, but they don't have CE, continuous learning, Because as much as even in marriage, I tell people, even in everything you do, You need to learn the new trends in the market. What are people doing now? What would you do better? How would you be able to mitigate in the case that there is, some kind of, disaster in the business, or there is inflation? How do you go around it? So we just get into business because we are making money. We just get comfortable. So I think one good thing I took from it is we must be open to learning. Leaders are avid learners. You keep learning. The only time you stop learning is maybe when you're done with this world, when you're dead. Because as long as you live, you keep learning. That was a great one, and that was a great takeaway for me. And I'm sure with my audience too. Learning even whilst you're good at what you do. Learning the new trends, learning how to stand, and how to even stand against competition. Because your competitions are also not sleepy. They're looking for what they can do to get better and get better share of the markets. So you don't want to get there and just sit there. I'm a salesperson. I understand what you're talking about, negotiation. I understand, of course, as an interview person, you want to give a good impression of yourself. And you also want to go around the question, because sometimes you don't understand all the questions. And you want to look good in the presence of the board or whoever is interviewing you. That's been a great one. That's a great one. And do you have anything you want to share with us? Any other story before we wrap it up?
Yeah, it's being an entrepreneur is not necessarily an easy life. It's not an easy path. If you're not prepared for tough moments, you're better off getting a job, because it's pretty much inevitable. Every entrepreneur I've spoken to, and I've spoken to a lot of them in different countries, every entrepreneur I've spoken to has had very difficult moments. Whether it's family stress, whether it's lack of money, whether it's health issues, and we've all had sleepless nights. There's no question, and there's no point in pretending otherwise. But you have to be able to tough it out. You have to have grit. You have to be able to dig very deep. You have to have the right supports in place, because there'll be moments when you feel you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a great one. You have to have a thick skin. You have to be ready to go through the difficult moments. It says when you run from adversity, that means your strength is small. But when you're able to stay to confront it, then you would cry for help, call for help, and you'll be able to overcome, because life is all about adversity. We're either just coming out of one, we're just entering another one. As long as we live, there will always be orders, obstacles, things we need to overcome. So I want to thank you so much for your time, sir. It's a good one for me. Keep learning. That's it. That's the summary. Just keep learning. Even if you're good at what you do, just keep learning the new ropes and the new ways how things and businesses are being done. I want to thank our audience. For being on this show. Thank you so much. And please kindly share, hit this notification bell, subscribe, so that whenever we are online and we have a great guest, or when we're online doing any kind of coaching, you can be among the first to hear and get a notification that we're online. I also want to thank our guests who are taking time out of his busy schedule to be here with us. Thank you so much, sir. Really do appreciate you. And should any of my guests want to reach out to you, I'll be able to lead them to you. So thank you so much, sir. You are a blessed and a lovely weekend, lovely evening.
A pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.